She discovered his hidden identity, a heartwarming love story with an incredible billionaire CEO. On a gloomy Tuesday afternoon in Maplewood, Illinois, Sarah felt like the weight of her world rested on her shoulders. The sun hid its face behind a blanket of gray clouds as she walked into the corner diner, hoping for a moment of escape. The bell above the door tinkled, a soft welcome amidst the buzz of familiar voices. The aromatic embrace of coffee and home-cooked meals wrapped around her as if they were long-lost friends calling her home. She ordered a cup, aiming for solace to gear up for her demanding shift as a nurse, but fate had other plans when she turned to find a seat. The steaming mug slipped through her fingers, colliding with a strikingly handsome stranger. Coffee splattered across the table and onto his crisp white shirt. "Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry!" she exclaimed, her cheeks flushing redder than a ripe tomato. "No harm done," he replied, his deep voice warm and inviting. He chuckled, wiping the coffee from his shirt. His smile was disarming, and for a heartbeat, she forgot her worries. As they began to talk, an effortless connection bloomed. They soon realized they shared the same love for family and community, finding joy in the little things Maplewood had to offer. Some light-hearted banter followed, and by the time he introduced himself as Ethan, Sarah felt a flutter of excitement she hadn't felt in years. A hint of vulnerability lingered in his voice, and Sarah recognized that he, too, was seeking refuge from the weight of the world, but beneath his relaxed demeanor lay a hidden depth. Ethan, as it turned out, was not just any man. He was the CEO of a major tech empire. Yet, as they shared stories, Sarah was blissfully ignorant of the privilege woven into his everyday life, captivated instead by his genuine kindness and the gentle way he listened. Just then, her phone buzzed, a reminder of Lily's dance recital that evening. Her heart squeezed at the thought of missing it. "I've got to get to the hospital," she said reluctantly. Before they parted, he lightly placed his hand over hers, sending a thrill through her. "Let us meet again." "Definitely," she replied, her heart thumping anxiously like never before. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned to weeks, their connection deepened amidst stolen moments, shared laughter, and late-night talks about dreams and life. Yet shadows loomed. Sarah, so dedicated to her work, and Lily, remained unaware of the walls around Ethan, who was being pulled back into the demanding world of business in a way he'd begun to dread. It was on a blustery morning that Sarah's world flipped. While idly flipping through a magazine at the diner, she stumbled across an article featuring Ethan. A billionaire CEO, wrapped in luxury and privilege. Betrayal washed over her like a tidal wave. Questions surged in her mind, and the warm glow of their connection now felt like a harsh winter chill. "Ethan," she whispered, feeling the reality of their lives crashing down around her. The confrontation loomed, and with it, the harsh truth: could love transcend the boundaries that life had drawn between them? Their hearts hung in the balance, waiting for what would inevitably come next. Sarah's hands trembled as she set the magazine down, her heart racing with uncertainty. In a few short weeks, Ethan had become a fixture in her life, a beacon of light amidst her relentless responsibilities. But now, that brightness felt tainted, overshadowed by the revelations she had just uncovered. The bell above the diner door rang, and she instinctively glanced up, her breath catching when she saw Ethan enter. The warmth of his smile usually melted away her worries, but now it served only to remind her of the chasm between their worlds. That he approached her table, his eyes sparkling with genuine affection. "Hey! You won't believe the morning I've had," he began, but his voice trailed off when he noticed her unusual silence. "Ethan, we need to talk," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. His eyes widened slightly, concern flickering across his features. "Is everything okay?" No, I saw this article, she replied, motioning to the magazine sprawled before her. As she spoke, the words spilled out like a dam breaking free, a rush of emotion she could no longer contain. You didn't tell me who you really are. A billionaire CEO. I can't believe you didn't mention it. Ethan's expression shifted from confusion to understanding, and then to regret. He sat down across from her, an imposing figure that now felt oddly distant. I was going to tell you, I swear. But every time I tried, the moment never felt right. The moment. Ethan, you let me share pieces of my life with you while hiding the most important part of yours. Do you realize how unfair that feels? His gaze dropped to the table, and for a moment, silence enveloped them. Sarah's heart thudded loudly in her chest, a mix of anger and hurt swirling within her. I didn't want to scare you away, he said, his voice quieter now. I've dealt with people who only cared about my money. I wanted you to see me, not my title. But how can I trust you now? The words escaped her lips sharper than she intended. What else are you hiding? Ethan met her gaze, his blue eyes filled with sincerity. Nothing, I promise. All my intentions were pure. I wanted to make my own space in your life, to become someone you liked for who I am, not what I have. They stared at each other, the air thick with unresolved tension. Sarah's mind raced, memories of their late-night talks and shared laughter colliding with the harsh reality of his hidden identity. Could she move past this betrayal? Please, he urged softly, reaching across the table to take her hand, let me explain everything. Just then, the door swung open, sending a blast of cold air into the diner. Sarah shivered as if the chill mirrored her internal conflict. She pulled her hand away, the warmth of his touch now feeling foreign. Maybe I need time, she admitted, her voice trembling with uncertainty. I can't just forget all of this. Take all the time you need, Ethan replied, his voice laced with a hint of desperation. Sarah watched him rise from the table, his shoulders heavy with the weight of the truth he'd revealed. As he walked away, she felt her heart splintering, torn between feelings she couldn't ignore and the reality she couldn't embrace. Later that evening, as she prepared for Lily's dance recital, Sarah stared at her reflection. The motherly duty tugged at her to be present for her daughter, immersed in a world of love and light. Yet the thought of Ethan lingered, an echo in her heart that wouldn't quiet down. What if there was more to him than just a title? What if their connection could overcome the chasm that life had laid? As she headed to the recital, a nagging question stirred inside her. Would she confront Ethan and hear his side, or would she turn her back on the chance for something real? The stage lights dimmed, but Sarah's thoughts remained brightly lit, leaving her to ponder whether true love could endure the shadows of secrets and doubts. The stage was a swirl of colors, the kind that made everyone gasp as topaz lights bounced off sequin costumes and the soft shimmer of tulle. Sarah found herself lost in the magic, the upbeat music pulling her for a moment away from her worries. Yet, no matter how captivating the performance was, her mind retraced steps leading back to that diner and the truth Ethan had hidden from her. As she forced herself to focus on Lily's graceful movements, her heart still felt heavy with mixed emotions. The joy of watching her daughter twirl and leap could not erase the uncertainty swirling in Sarah's head. She knew she had to confront Ethan, that the conversation they left unfinished loomed over her like a storm cloud. Lily glided across the stage, radiating confidence and joy. Sarah couldn't help but beam with pride. However, as tears pricked the corners of her eyes, she thought of what it would mean for her daughter to grow up in a world where secrets could exist between the people closest to her. Was she setting a good example by grappling with her own doubts about love and trust? Once the lights dimmed for the finale, the applause blended into an overwhelming wave of emotion. Sarah's heart beat faster as she rushed backstage to catch her daughter. The backstage area buzzed with excitement, dancers embracing one another, parents beaming. Yet she wondered if any of them could understand the turmoil simmering within her. "Mom! Did you see me?" Lily exclaimed, her bright eyes sparkling with joy. "I did, sweetheart. You were amazing." Sarah hugged her tightly, hoping to wrap her daughter in warmth. despite the chill gnawing at her. "Can we go get ice cream?" Lily asked, her face hopeful. "Of course." Sarah smiled, but her heart wasn't entirely in it. They made their way through the crowd, laughter echoing around them, but all Sarah could think about was Ethan. As they stepped outside into the cool air, she inhaled deeply, trying to clear her thoughts. It was now or never. "Hey, sweetheart, let us see if we can find Ethan. I think I need to talk to him." Lily's face lit up. "Really? Can we go to his office? I want to see where he works." Sarah swallowed hard, uncertain but resolute. "Yes, let us try." Driving through the night, streetlights sped past like fleeting moments in her life, moments filled with uncertainty yet tinged with hope. With every turn, the weight of her decision pressed down hard. She wanted to believe that Ethan was worth the risk, that maybe love could flourish despite unanswered questions. When they arrived at Ethan's building, Sarah held her breath as they stepped inside. The lobby was just as she remembered, sleek and modern with that unmistakable aura of wealth. A flicker of nerves twisted in her stomach. But they were here, and she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Once they reached the elevator, a sudden thought struck her. What if he didn't want to see her? What if his world was too far removed from hers to ever allow them to meet in the middle? As the doors opened, her heart raced. A tall figure stood at the end of the hall, and for a moment, all her fears faded away. Ethan. He turned, and their eyes locked, a moment stretching into eternity where neither spoke, but everything hung in the air between them. Then Lily tugged at Sarah's hand, breaking the spell. "Ethan!" she shouted, her voice bright and innocent. Ethan looked down, a smile blooming on his face, but the moment was bittersweet. The tension hadn't dissipated, instead, it coiled tighter. "Hey, kiddo," he replied, kneeling to wrap his arms around Lily with warmth that felt genuine. But Sarah remained rooted, her heart battling with what they had to confront together. What would they say to one another? How could they bridge the gap that had grown between them since that day in the diner? As Lily beamed at Ethan, Sarah felt a flood of emotions crash down. Could vulnerability give way to understanding? Could the connection they once shared bloom again despite the shadows of doubt? With her heart in her throat, Sarah took a step forward, ready to find the answers they both needed. But as she opened her mouth to speak, would she find the courage to voice her truth, or would she retreat into silence again? Sarah felt the weight of the silence pressing down on her, a heavy blanket of unspoken words. She wanted to reach out, to pull Ethan into the warmth of their past, but the shadows of the diner still loomed in her mind, clouding the moment with doubt. She watched as he hugged Lily, their laughter dancing in the air, and for a brief second, envy pricked at her heart. How was it that this man could so easily connect with their daughter while leaving her with unanswered questions? "Ethan," she finally managed, her voice trembling. The word hung between them like an extension of her heart. "We need to talk." He looked up, his expression shifting slightly, the ease of his smile faltering. "Sure. Let us go outside." There was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes, but he waved Lily over. "How about you grab us some ice cream at the shop across the street while Mom and I have a quick chat?" Lily bounced on her toes, excitement bubbling over. "Okay." She dashed off, the swish of her costume trailing behind her as she ran, joy radiating from her little figure, and just like that, Sarah was alone with Ethan. The hallway felt unusually tight, the walls closing in as they stood face to face. The man she loved was still there, but so was the barrier of his secrets. The energy shifted, doubt thick in the air. "Sarah," he began, his voice careful, almost tentative. "I didn't expect to see you here tonight." Ethan, just tell me," she interrupted gently but firmly, needing to know. "What happened at the diner? You said there was something I needed to understand, but you didn't finish." He stepped closer, his brows knitted in concern, but the moment he opened his mouth, she already sensed his hesitation. "It's complicated. I just didn't want to drag you into my world. It's messy." "Messy?" Or dangerous? Her voice rose slightly, the rawness of her emotions slipping through. Why is it so hard for you to trust me with the truth? I do trust you. He responded, almost too quickly, then he paused, as if the reality of his words hit him. It's just that I wish I could protect you from it. The last thing I want is for you to get hurt. By what? She demanded, her heart racing. What's worth keeping from me? What kind of danger? Ethan's expression darkened. You know that I have responsibilities, obligations to my family and business. They can be intense. She took a step back, absorbing his words. Responsibilities? Or are they excuses? There was a beat of silence where their gazes clashed, emotions boiling just beneath the surface. In this moment, every shared glance, every laugh they'd had, clashed with the growing chasm in between them. You don't understand, he said softly, but the urgency of emotion was palpable. This world it's filled with choices that aren't just mine to make. They affect everyone I care about. You care about me and Lily. The words came out in a rush, desperation giving her clarity. Why can't you see that we want to be part of your life? We want you in ours. Just then, they both heard the sound of small feet rushing back, and Ethan visibly flinched at the interruption. Lily bounded towards them, her cheeks flushed with excitement, 2 cones in hand topped high with scoops of swirled ice cream. Look, I got chocolate and strawberry. She beamed, oblivious to the tension that hung thick between her parents. Ethan plastered on a smile, but Sarah could see it didn't quite reach his eyes. You did great, sweetheart. As they all walked back together, the earlier connection felt elusive again, like a fleeting shadow. Sarah knew their moment was interrupted, but the question still loomed large in her mind. What would it take for Ethan to open up? And were the walls he built really meant to protect her, or was it something deeper, a hidden life she hadn't yet approached? But as she watched Lily chatter jubilantly, she made a silent vow, she wouldn't let this go. The truth would come out, one way or another. Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She glanced down and froze, a message from someone she never expected to hear from again. I need to talk to you. About Ethan. It's important. Her heart raced and fear clawed at her as she looked back up at Ethan, the weight of uncertainty and revelation loomed. How deep did this storm go, and would she be ready to ride it out? The moment Sarah read the message, her heart dropped. It felt as if the world around her dimmed, the laughter of Lily and Ethan fading into a dull echo. She tried to focus, forcing her mind away from the swirling thoughts that threatened to overwhelm her. Who could this person be? What could they possibly know about Ethan that she didn't? Mom. Lily's voice cut through her anxiety. Are you okay? The little girl's eyes sparkled with innocent concern, drawing Sarah back from the brink. Yeah, honey, she replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask. Just a little surprised, that's all. Guess what? Lily chirped, bouncing on her feet, her ice cream nearly toppling over. Did you see how quickly I got back? I'm like a super-fast ice cream ninja. Sarah chuckled at her daughter's enthusiasm, needing the distraction. Keeping her thoughts from spiraling further into confusion, she turned her gaze to Ethan, who stood silently beside them, fidgeting with the cone in his hand. Ethan, she said, her voice a gentle nudge to his attention. You didn't eat any of your ice cream yet. He blinked as if coming out of a daze. Oh, right. Just thinking. He took a tiny bite, but it was clear his mind was elsewhere. About what? Sarah pressed. She didn't want to rush or push too hard, but the nagging urge to dig deeper clawed at her. Is it about the diner? He looked at her, eyes clouded with uncertainty. It's just complicated. Complicated. The word slithered into the space between them again, a reminder that the man she loved was doing anything but revealing himself. Lily, oblivious to the undercurrent of emotions, started to walk ahead, pulling them both along in her cheerful wake. Race you to that tree. She yelled before darting off. As Sarah watched her daughter dash ahead, the weight of the message still hung over her like a storm cloud. She took a breath, hoping the air would clear her foggy thoughts. "Ethan, I need you to be honest with me. Please." He turned fully to face her, the tension palpable in his shoulders. "What do you want me to say? That I'm trapped? That family ties I didn't choose are dragging me into something I don't know how to escape?" His voice was tight, every word laced with frustration. Sarah scoffed, her heart sinking. "You act as if this is something you're forced into. But what about us? What about me and Lily? Don't you think I'm trying?" The intensity in his eyes was fierce, as if he were fighting a battle within himself. "Every choice I make ripples out and hurts the people I love." "And he faltered, looking away, battling his own demons as bitterness marred his expression. A flicker of pain shot through her chest. She didn't want to see him like this, pained and cornered. "Then let me help you. Let me in." From behind them, Lily squealed, tumbling in the grass, her ice cream smeared across her cheek, laughter ringing out pure and joyous. It tugged at Sarah, pulling her heart in multiple directions. But the moment was fleeting. As they walked towards their daughter, headlights blinked from a car pulling up nearby. Sarah noticed its elegance, the type of car that turned heads. And then the door opened. A figure emerged, tall and commanding, a man in a tailored suit, sharp, confident. She felt her pulse quicken. It wasn't just any stranger, he exuded an energy that instantly captured her attention. Ethan's whole demeanor shifted, his eyes darkening as he tensed near her. "No, not now," he breathed, pressing his lips together in a thin line, as if bracing for impact. "Who is that?" Sarah asked, her throat dry. Ethan didn't answer, his gaze locked on the man who was approaching them, his grip on the cone tightening. Unbeknownst to Sarah, this mysterious figure was more connected to Ethan than she could ever imagine. And just like that, she felt another layer of the unknown peel away, revealing a world she had never wanted to see but was now drawn into. "Ethan, what is going on?" she pressed, dread creeping in over every word. The man in the suit stopped a few feet away, a knowing grin spreading across his face, and then he met Sarah's eyes. "I think it's time we had a real conversation about who Ethan truly is." Now, the path ahead was twisted and uncertain, and Sarah wasn't sure if she was ready for the revelations that were about to unravel. Would the truth set them free, or complicate everything even further? Ethan's body stiffened, his breath caught in his throat as the man in the suit approached. Sarah felt an unsettling chill brush against her skin, as if the air itself had thickened with tension. Who are you?" Sarah's voice trembled, her heart racing as the figure drew closer. She could see the confident smirk on his face, the way he carried himself like someone who was used to getting what he wanted. "I'm here on business, actually," he replied, his voice smooth yet laced with an underlying challenge. "But it seems I've stumbled upon a rather important family matter." Sarah felt her stomach twist. Family? What did he mean? Ethan shifted beside her, his eyes darting nervously between the man and their daughter, who was still blissfully playing in the grass, unaware of the storm brewing. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice low and edged with urgent warning. "Oh, come on. I figured it was time for some transparency," the man mocked, glancing at Lily who just picked a flower, blissfully ignorant to the tension spiraling around her. "Isn't that what you've been asking for, Ethan? A chance to finally see the light?" Sarah's chest tightened. She felt like she was spiraling down a rabbit hole, and the deeper she went, the more dark secrets seemed to lie hidden. Light? What does that even mean? She turned to Ethan, searching for answers in his eyes, but all she saw was a flicker of fear. The man took another step forward, an undeniable power radiating from him. "You're in way over your head, Ethan. The sooner you accept the reality of your situation, the better." Ethan took a deep breath, struggling to maintain his composure. "You don't know what you're talking about," he spat, anger igniting in his eyes, for a split second driving out the fear. Oh, but I do, the man retorted, folding his arms. And Sarah, you need to understand that Ethan's choice isn't just about him. It's about accountability, family obligations, and sacrifices that come with his name. Ethan has a name? She asked, her mind racing to connect the dots between the man before her and the person she thought she knew. What does he have to be accountable for? Enough secrets, Ethan, the man continued, ignoring her questions. It's time you opened up. Time she knew the truth. A sense of desperation hit Sarah. Ethan, please. I know you said things are complicated, but I never meant for you to be part of this. Ethan finally burst out, his frustration spilling out in a rush. I didn't want you to know the truth. The silence that followed was suffocating. Sarah's heart sank with confusion and betrayal. What truth was he hiding? Why had her life been intertwined with such obscurity? Your silence is a ticking clock, Ethan. Every moment you wait, the more consequences you'll have to face. And it won't just affect you. A heavy weight settled over her. Sarah felt a pang of dread as she looked at Lily, unaware of the storm brewing around them. The innocence of childhood, so fragile, so beautiful, a shield Sarah needed to protect at all costs. Please, just tell me, she cried, her voice barely above a whisper, desperation clawing at her throat. I'll stand by you. Just let me in. For a moment, the world held its breath. Sarah hoped for clarity, for Ethan to uncover the layers of whatever secret shrouded him. But instead, he stood frozen, torn between the love for his family and the pressures of his past. The man in the suit leaned closer, his smirk fading, eyes suddenly serious. The only way out of this mess is to confront it head-on. Denial is not an option. And just then, there was a crack like thunder. The world felt heavier, like a dark cloud about to burst. What if revealing everything pulls Lily into danger? Sarah gasped, panic setting in. Ethan's gaze dropped, his lips pressed firmly together as he weighed the implications of her words. The next moment could very well change everything. Ethan, she pleaded again, her heart racing. It's time to decide what kind of life we want. Are we going to fight for it or let it slip away? What would he choose? The weight of their future hung in the balance, and time was running out. As Sarah gazed into his conflicted eyes, the soothing laughter of their daughter echoed behind them. Would that laughter still ring true once the truth came out? In the air hung a fragile hope, but the darkness whispered warnings in the shadows. A reckoning was coming, and once unveiled, there would be no turning back. What choices lay ahead for Ethan as the pieces of his hidden life began to unravel? Would the truth fortify their bond or tear them apart? Ethan stood there, torn between the storm raging inside him and the calm visage he needed to maintain for Sarah. She must have sensed the weight of his struggle. Her eyes searched his, pleading for reassurance, for a sliver of the truth he had kept locked away. But how could he reveal the intricate web of his life? The lies piled up like bricks, heavy and stifling. Ethan, Sarah whispered again, a soft urgency in her tone. If you don't tell me now, I don't know if I can support you when things get harder. Her words hit him like a cold wave crashing against a shore. She was right. Any choice he made, whether he buried the truth deeper or reluctantly spilled it out, would change everything. Their daughter was playing innocently, picking more flowers, blissfully unaware of the peril that threatened to engulf them all. Was sharing his past worth putting her at risk? You don't understand, he finally managed. I've spent my whole life running from this. I thought I could change the world without revealing who I am. The man in the suit chuckled, a low, dangerous sound that echoed in the thick air. You can't run forever, Ethan. Every choice has a consequence, especially when a family legacy is involved. What legacy? Sarah interjected, frustration bubbling over. Is it wealth? Power? What dark destiny are you pulling him back into? That was a question Ethan had never wanted her to face. The legacy was his father's empire, built on a foundation of ambition, ruthlessness, and secrets much uglier than anything he had ever wanted for Sarah or Lily. He felt sick at the thought of them entangled in that world. The man stepped closer. Perhaps saving your family means acknowledging the truth of what has been kept hidden. It's time, Ethan. Ethan clenched his fists. You don't know anything about me. You have no right to stand here, bombarding us with your threats. He stepped forward, his protective instincts flaring up like flames. Let us be honest, the man pushed back, unfazed by Ethan's anger. You're the one who has made it so, Ethan. I'm just the one reflecting the surface. The truth will always resurface. Shaking, Sarah reached for Ethan's arm, her fingers trembling slightly. We can face it together. Whatever it is, we will figure it out as a family. Her courage pierced through Ethan's tempest of thoughts, and he felt the magnetism of her love pulling him back from the precipice of despair, but what could he say? His heart burned with the need to protect her, but the chains of his past and the man before them felt suffocating. Suddenly, clarity washed over him like a refreshing rain. You're right, he exhaled sharply, his voice steadying. It's time to stop hiding. Sarah's eyes widened, hope flaring even as fear mingled with it. What do you mean? I mean, he hesitated, grappling with the tight knot of fear in his throat. I will tell you everything. But you need to promise me that, no matter what comes out, we stand firm together. The man leaned back, a satisfied smirk returning as if fate had turned in his favor. But the battle was still brewing, the air bristling with anticipation. As Ethan laid his heart bare, a moment of clarity emerged among the chaos. What if everything he had built, a family, a life filled with love, took another shape entirely? Just give me a moment, he whispered, gears shifting within him. The truth felt close yet so far away as he prepared to shatter the silence holding them captive. What if the truth threatens to tear us apart? Sarah whispered again, her voice barely steady. Maybe it will, Ethan answered, his heart pounding relentlessly against his chest. But we'll face it together or not at all. Just then, Lily came running up, her cheeks flushed with joy and flowers sprinkled in her hair. Mommy! Daddy! Look what I found! She exclaimed, showing them a colorful bouquet. The warmth of her innocence enveloped them, but the burden of the storm still loomed overhead. Ethan's heart sank as he realized he did not just bear the weight of his life but theirs as well. As they watched Lily twirl in the sunlight, Ethan saw the truth beginning to unravel in his mind. The moment was fragile but glimmered with possibility. How far could honesty take them? What price would they have to pay for the freedom that often felt just out of reach? He took a breath, heart roaring as he prepared to let go of his fears. But was he ready for the outcome? Brace yourselves, he murmured, looking down at his daughter while stealing another glance at Sarah. Would they still be a family after he spoke? And with that, Ethan took the first step toward the uncharted territory of his dark past, ready to challenge whatever awaited him on the other side. But the shadows were darker than he anticipated, and this journey could change everything forever. What awaited them when he opened that door? Would their love be enough to withstand the truth? Ethan gathered his thoughts, the pressure building inside him. The man in the suit watched him with distant amusement, a predator awaiting its moment. The weight of Sarah's gaze anchored him, her eyes wide with a mix of trust and palpable fear. It was now or never. Okay, he began, his voice cracking slightly. I'll tell you everything. But you need to understand that this the life I lived before I never wanted it for you or Lily. It's dark, and painful. Lily, oblivious to the tension, haphazardly wore her flower crown, giggling as she danced around them. Each laugh echoed like a distant bell, reminding him of what he stood to lose. Sit down, he urged his family, leading them toward an old wooden bench beneath the oak tree. He took a deep breath, willing himself to slow the rapid beating of his heart. I grew up in a world where everything was about power. My father was a powerful man, he hesitated, feeling the bitterness cling to the words. He built an empire on the backs of those he crushed, all in the name of ambition. And the worst part? I was being groomed to take his place. Sarah's face fell, and Ethan squeezed her hand. I wanted to escape that life. I wanted to be a good man. I left it all behind. I changed my name, started fresh. But the past doesn't just vanish. It clings to you, like a shadow. The man's smirk faded, replaced by a hard glint in his eyes. But shadows can't be escaped forever, Ethan. They grow longer, darker, until they consume you whole. You know what's waiting for you. Ethan shook his head. No. I refuse to go back. I chose this life. I chose them. He gestured to Sarah and Lily, the most precious gifts he could ever hope for. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Sarah asked, her voice steady, but hurt lingered beneath the surface. Why did you feel you had to carry this alone? Because I thought that if I didn't speak it, it wouldn't be real. I wanted to shield you from my demons, Ethan replied, guilt clawing at him. But by keeping silent, I built a wall between us. And that was wrong. Tears brimmed in Sarah's eyes, but she held her chin up high. We're a family, Ethan. You should had faith in us. In me. I know that now, he said, voice softening. But with the truth comes consequences. The man in the suit. He is part of that world I thought I could leave behind. He won't let me go easily. Lily, sensing the seriousness of the conversation, crawled into Sarah's lap. Mommy, Daddy, don't be sad. Let's go home and eat ice cream. Her innocent suggestion shattered the tension, if only for a moment. Ethan chuckled, a fleeting relief washing over him. How easy was it for a child to dissolve heavy burdens with simple pleasures? But he looked at his wife, and in her face, saw a storm of emotions brewing. What are we supposed to do now? Sarah asked, eyes burning with determination. We stand together, just like we promised, he said, heart steadying. But there's more to this than just my past. I will have to confront it. We may not be safe until I do. The man in the suit took a step forward, voice dripping with intrigue. See, Ethan. You're finally realizing the stakes. It's time to make a decision. Stand with the legacy or carve a new path. But be warned, the balance will tip. Ethan looked at Sarah, her fierce expression igniting his resolve. We'll face this head-on, together. No more shadows, no more running. Whatever comes next, we're ready. Just then, Lily burst into laughter again, twirling as she flung the flowers into the air, oblivious to the shadows closing in on them. But for Ethan and Sarah, it was more than a moment. It was a vow. All right, he breathed, pulling them both close. Let us see if love is enough to dismantle the darkness. With determination settling in his chest, Ethan supposed they would find out, one way or another. As he looked past his family, the man in the suit simply smiled, not about to let their story end here. The real game had just begun. What awaited Ethan when the past came knocking again? Would love prove strong enough to withstand the powerful tides rising against them? The sky turned a deeper shade of blue as dusk began to settle over the park. Ethan felt the moment weighty with uncertainty. Lily continued to twirl, her carefree laughter like a beacon, but the shadow of the man in the suit loomed large in Ethan's mind. He couldn't ignore it any longer. The man stepped forward, his presence now more oppressive. It's charming, really. You think love can shield you from your past. But remember, Ethan, love does not erase history. It only binds you more tightly to its consequences. Ethan's jaw clenched. You think I'm afraid of the past? You don't know me. He could feel Sarah's warmth at his side, grounding him. I've built something good here. Something worth fighting for. Ah, but at what cost? The man replied, a hint of amusement in his voice. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to remind you of the choices you've made, and the ones you will have to make again. Leave us alone. Sarah's voice was firm, cutting through the tension. You've taken enough from him. You won't take our family. The man's smile faltered just for a moment, but then he shrugged. I can't take what was never yours to keep. The legacy is in Ethan's blood. It'll call him back. It always does. Lily tugged at Sarah's shirt. Mommy, can we go home now? I'm hungry. Ethan knelt down to her level, his heart aching. Just a moment, sweetheart. Just stay close, okay? As he looked into Lily's trusting eyes, he felt the surge of emotions once more: fear, love, and determination. He couldn't let this man take anything else from them, not now when they just started to heal. Don't you see? Ethan pressed on, his voice gaining strength. You think I'm still that boy who was lost in shadows? You're mistaken. I broke free. I forged a life outside of all that. And I'm not going back. Breaking free is one thing, staying free is another, the man countered, his gaze narrowing. Your father wants you back, Ethan. And we both know it would take very little for him to find you. Sarah tightened her grip on Ethan's arm, and he felt a flicker of doubt. What if they really weren't safe? Do you really think he'll give up? The man in the suit continued, taking another step closer. You think this is merely a warning? He can reach you in the quiet hours of the night, when the darkness seeps into your heart. And that little girl? She could be a pawn in a much bigger game. Ethan felt a chilling wave wash over him at the thought of Lily endangered. The chilling reality began to settle in. The fight wasn't just his anymore, it included Sarah and Lily, too. Enough! Ethan shouted, raising his voice with passion. If you dare to come near my family again, there'll be hell to pay. You want a fight? You've got one. Lily looked up at her father, brows furrowed in concern. Daddy, why are you yelling? Ethan sighed deeply, lowering his voice to reassure her. I'm sorry, love. You don't need to worry. Just stay close. The man smiled coldly, his interest piqued. You're just making it easier for me, Ethan. But I suppose this is exactly what I needed to see. Your fear will fuel my approach. With that, he turned and began to walk away, fading into the twilight. Daddy? Lily asked again, her small voice trembling slightly. Ethan crouched down and pulled her close, his heart hammering. I won't let anything happen to you. Not now. Not ever. We're stronger than this, and we will figure it out together. Sarah nodded, her fierce determination glistening in her eyes. Yes, we will. It's time we took the fight to him. Ethan's heart swelled with love as he held his family close, their bond as resolute as iron. But in the back of his mind, the man's words echoed, twisting and turning like a dark cloud. What did his father want? How far would he go to reclaim his legacy? And as he glanced toward the horizon, the air felt heavy with an impending storm. Would they be ready when it struck? The night sky hung heavy with tension, but within the embrace of his family, Ethan felt a flicker of hope. They stood together, arms wrapped tight, a small fortress against the chaos. Sarah's resolve shone through her eyes, and Lily nestled against them, her innocence a bright light amidst the shadows. Let us not wait for him to come back, Sarah said, her determination igniting within the gathering darkness. We need a plan. We need to fight back. Ethan nodded, realizing the right path unfolded before him. It was time to reclaim not just his past, but their future. The fight was brewing, and they wouldn't face it alone. Okay, Ethan said, his voice steady. I'll gather information. My father has connections. He works from the shadows. We need to understand what we're up against. Can we trust anyone? Sarah asked, her eyebrows knitted slightly. I don't know, he admitted, heartsick at the thought of dragging her into his past. But I'll protect you both. No matter what. With a single deep breath, Sarah pulled back slightly, her gaze unwavering. Ethan, this isn't just your fight anymore. We're in this together. As they stood side by side, Lily fidgeted between them, her small fingers clutching the wilted flowers from her crown. "Can we plant those flowers when we get home?" she asked innocently, her bright tone a reminder of why they had to fight. "Of course, honey. A beautiful garden, just for us," Ethan promised, kneeling down to meet her gaze. "But first, we need to show that man we're not afraid." "That's right." Sarah chimed in, her eyes glistening with admiration. "Together, we're stronger than we ever would be apart. We can face this storm." The weight of their love wrapped around their shoulders, and amid that heaviness, resilience began to bloom. Ethan stood tall once more, feeling buoyed by the bond they had forged, ready to confront his demons. In the coming days, they worked together to gather intel, each piece fitting into the puzzle that was Ethan's past. Sarah and Lily became his eyes and ears, their presence grounding him when the ghosts of his childhood threatened to resurface. One afternoon, as they sipped lemonade in the backyard, Ethan received a call from an old friend, someone he'd left behind in that dark era. "I can help you if you're ready to confront him," the voice on the other end echoed. Without hesitation, Ethan said, "I am. But I need to ensure my family is safe. Meet me at the cafe on Maple Street tomorrow at noon. We'll talk about your father and what he's planning." The next day arrived, laden with uncertainty. The sun was bright, yet shadows lingered, a stark reminder of what lay ahead. As Ethan walked into the cafe, the familiar smell of fresh coffee reminded him of the connection he'd found with Sarah. This was about more than just him now, this was about their family's future. Sitting across from his old friend, Ethan felt the tremors of his past quake beneath him. "You left for a reason, Ethan," his friend started, voice low and filled with urgency. "But he's not going to easily let you go." "What does he want?" Ethan questioned, adrenaline kicking in. "Control over the business and to assert that you're still his heir." Ethan's heart raced. They had turned a page, but it was still filled with threats. "Then we prepare. I want to let him dictate my life again. I don't want that for Sarah and Lily." As Ethan spoke, images of his two girls filled his mind, Sarah, fierce and loving, and Lily, bright with unyielding hope. They were his heart, and he would protect them at all costs. Once they left the cafe, he called Sarah right away, his voice charged with newfound determination. "We need a strategy. We face him head-on, and we take back control of our lives." The resolute energy in his voice flooded into Sarah and Lily. They brainstormed for hours, coming up with a plan to counterattack the web of shadows his father had cast over their lives. The following week was filled with meetings, confrontations, and preparations, but through it all, Ethan held tight to the love that anchored him. They learned about his father's plans, prepared for the worst, and grew ever closer as a family. Then came the day they had all been preparing for. He needed to confront his father, not just for himself but for Sarah and Lily. As they arrived at the imposing office building that had once struck fear into his heart, Ethan took Sarah's hand firmly. This time, they would face whatever lay behind those doors, together. "Remember, whatever happens, we have each other," he said gently. "Always," she replied, eyes steady and fierce. Together they stepped into the corporate jungle, ready to break through the chains of the past. The air crackled with anticipation and rising tension. Would their love truly be enough to push through the dark unknown? The door creaked loudly as they entered the office, and time felt suspended for a heartbeat. Ethan's father sat behind a grand desk, the room an echo of his powerful presence. "Ah, Ethan, it's been a while." His father's voice was smooth, yet an underlying ripple of menace danced beneath. "I'm not here for pleasantries," Ethan stated firmly. "I'm here to end this once and for all." "What do you mean?" His father smirked. "My family won't be part of your game anymore." With Sarah and Lily at his side, Ethan took that leap into the unknown. Would their united front break the powerful chains that bound him? Would love's light be strong enough to prevail against the dark legacy that loomed over them? And though they stood at the precipice, there was an unshakable truth, one they would cling to fiercely. Together, they could weather any storm, one breathtaking moment at a time. As they faced the man who had cast shadows over his life for far too long, Ethan thought of his bright little girl, of Sarah's fierce love, and of the power they held because they were a family. And in that moment, he knew they could defeat whatever darkness lay ahead. Their journey was just beginning, but love had transformed fear into strength, and it would illuminate the path forward. So now, as this chapter closes, a new journey begins. The power of truth, family, and love stands resolute against all adversities, ready to defy the odds that life may throw their way, and those watching their journey, remember, always stand by those you love. When the winds of doubt blow strong, let love be your anchor, guiding you home. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that will uplift your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because your support truly makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, your thoughts matter. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share, because together, we create an unstoppable force of hope and love.